morning. It is a big day today. I got up at 6 a.m. which is the earliest I've gotten up in like the whole time that I've been in Albuquerque when it's been cold. So no. Anyway, okay, so I'm gonna drink my tea sitting here. Just warmed up the van. This is my Tsum Tsum. My daughter picked this out for me 10 years ago. That's a Tsum Tsum's butt. Tsum Tsum. They used to have a Disney store, and we used to go to the Disney store after preschool, after work. I go pick her up and we go over to the mall, which was like 2 minutes away. We just go walk around in the evenings. It was still hot and humid, and yeah, it was a safe place for her to walk around. We go to the Disney store and stay there for like an hour or so, and she'd dance in front of the TV, and then we go over to the Microsoft store and she'd dance in front of the little Xbox Just Dance thing, and she memorized all the dances. It was very cute. But yeah, that was a way for her to kind of run around. And nobody was at the mall in the evenings, which was great. Anyway, I'm actually okay. It's 32 degrees. It was very cold when I woke up. The van warms up pretty quickly. I don't even have a diesel heater. Which I would probably die from heat stroke if I had one, because I don't like stuffiness. And if I turn the heat on, I have to open the windows, like when I lived in Japan, which is kind of funny. Let me get going here. It was kind of funny because we had to use kerosene heaters and go fill up the kerosene at the gas station. Keep in mind, this is a first world country. Like the joke was that, like, you know, it's, well, they say developing countries now, but 25 years ago they'd say it was a third world country with a first world economy, which is true. My house had no insulation, no central heating, and I lived in government housing. I worked for the Japanese government. I had a government car. You know, it's like I had free free gas, free rent, free car, tax-free, 5 months paid vacation. It was a great job. And I was like, this is great, like this is life right after college. And then I go get my first job in America, and they're like, no, you get time off at 5 p.m. and you have to come back at 9 a.m. the next day, and you only get 3 vacation days. I was like, screw that, America, I'm going to the army. So yeah, it was like how bad my first job in America was after Japan, that I literally enlisted in the military. So I was like, I'm gonna fight for the freedom of having more than 3 days off. It's such a weird mentality. But anyway, somebody's let me crash here. Well, there goes their tail light. I don't know. Yeah, it's a Sunday, which is probably a better day to be doing this ride. There'll be less traffic everywhere. There's no traffic on the road. Okay, so let's do this. Let's do bike packing. So yeah, so I'm gonna drive 8 minutes to the Sandia Pueblo train station. I absolutely love Google Earth. Like, you have to look at the terrain when you're looking at maps. Some people use the terrain map all the time. That's a little bit too busy for me. So I use the cartoon version of the map, you know, just like the drawings. And then I'll hit that little button that will have, what is it, like, that'll show like the actual terrain. Oh, it's a hot air balloon. I don't know if that's my friend Greg. He's an aeronaut. I think he also does commercial, like for like IBM or something, or Amazon. Like, they'll have their own balloon, and so when they're doing advertising, he'll like fly their balloons. Like, there's the pilot. I should text him and be like, go a little to the left. To the left, you're gonna hit the freeway. There's nobody on the freeway right now. This is nice. I've not been up this early. Actually, the weather's not too bad. It's 32. Might still be a little cold for a bike ride. And there's some guy over there on the trail yesterday is burning his whole orchard. And the police like went over and talked to him, and now I just see a big plume of smoke coming from over at the Bosque Trail. I don't think you're allowed to burn anything here. I'm pretty sure New Mexico has like a permanent burn ban, because this is a tinderbox. The whole place will go up. Anyway, so yeah, so I'm just gonna go up here, and the sand. Yeah, so what I was saying is that I looked at the trail on the terrain map to see whether I have roads or trails. Pretty much, it's just a back road. So I think I go through town a little bit in Santa Fe, which is fine. And it's 5.5 hours the way that I'm gonna go. It says fewer hills. I'm like, I'm okay with hills. I've got gears. I'm just worried about my tire. So we'll see. I'll have to, you know, tell people that I'm bike packing, and they might have to come rescue me. But it's only like maybe 45 minutes to an hour from Albuquerque to Santa Fe, and it's straight up. Like, the Sandia Peak is over here. You can't see because you're looking at me. I still have hiccups. God damn it. I was getting hot flashes last night. I'm like, I'm getting old. Like, I woke up in the middle of the night burning, like really hot, and it was freezing cold. It was like 28 degrees. and I'm just taking the blankets off and the sleeping bag off, and I'm like, oh, I'm so hot right now. And then I got really cold, and I was like, okay, this is I need to go talk to a doctor again. I don't like getting old, and it just kind of like smacks you in the face. Anyway, but I don't mess with my hormones. I'm just gonna figure it out. In England, they take evening primrose oil, which tends to help. So I'm gonna call my English friends that I grew up with and be like, what do they tell you to take there? Because I'll do what the Brits do. I'm not gonna be pumped full of hormones and then end up with some hormonal cancer. I don't know. I don't know what happens. I don't know if that one's related to the other, but I don't mess with my hormones. But anyway, so yeah, so the Sandia Mountains are that way. The 25 is that way, that goes basically into flatland. So the drive to, well, there's a couple mountains, a couple of hills over there, but it didn't look like there were really any hills. I mean, I probably have to go over 1 or 2 hills. I have to go past like Camel Rock, that kind of stuff. But I think it's relatively just up and down. It says fewer hills. It doesn't say like riding through a mountain pass. So I think I'll be okay. I think I'm not going to hit a lot of elevation. I hope I don't go over those mountains. It doesn't look like it. It's just, I don't know. I should have driven because the weather has actually been decent. I should have driven the route from Santa Fe. That's what I should have done today, is driven the route, or at least practice taking the train. I don't know. I didn't prepare. So you're as blind on this as I am. It's like, okay, follow me for, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Travel advice. Anyway, but yeah, it's only 5 minutes up the road. Very well-oiled machine down here. I guess because it's expensive to live in Santa Fe, there's not as much housing. It's cheaper to live in Albuquerque, but Santa Fe needs the employees, because Santa Fe is another one of those places where the people with the money generally aren't the people doing the service industry jobs or working at all. It's like Bozeman. The service industry job people can't afford to live in Bozeman. They've got to have 4 roommates for a 2-bedroom apartment. Yet they need the service workers, because the people that are pouring the money into the place, like spending the money, aren't the ones that are making the money. The ones spending the money are the ones that are already wealthy. So when you get places like Durango and Bozeman and Santa Fe, and I love Santa Fe, that's like my happiest place, and that's where one day I will have land. But Bend, Oregon, I don't like Bend at all. Bend, Oregon was very much like Bozeman. A lot of California transplants, very disconnected, the hatred of anybody new, whereas everybody there is new. And it was just, you know, I thought it was a sleepy little town. I did a video on it, and I was like, it's just one big commercial vomit puddle. You know, I don't like it. I don't like Bend. I was only there for a couple days. So I was going to like the Obsidian Flow, which was great. And I'd just come up from Crater Lake, and I was having lunch with my friend that I hadn't seen in years, my friend that was Marine. So I liked that part of it. I liked the museum was really good. The Museum of the Desert? No, it was the museum right outside of Bend was fantastic. Really good museum. But when I got into town to go to REI and get my tires pumped up, and I was just like, I don't like this place. Like, there's only like one demographic and no diversity, which is weird for me coming from Houston and having lived in other countries and traveled the world. It's just really like strange to not have the United Nations in every single store. Like when I go to Houston, everyone's just cool. Like, you know, you go to a supermarket, there's 1,000 million countries, and I think our little guys that bag the groceries at my grocery store, they're from Nigeria, a couple of them from Ghana. We've got I lived near like the most diverse area of Houston, and I loved it. And my daughter's school that she went to before, the public school, that's now in some like, you know, upper middle class suburbia. You know, again, it's a little bit diverse, but not as much as the charter school that she went to. And that one had like 35 countries represented, and our cultural day was a cultural day. I had my British booth, and basically they had every country represented. And I think it was run by a bunch of guys from Kazakhstan, and they even taught you Turkish. And so I'm used to that. I went to school in London, so, you know, it's like I'm used to living in really, you know, interestingly populated places. And I go around the country and I see places where, you know, friends of mine have moved to, like Bend or Bozeman, and I'm like, this is crazy. Like it's really kind of not my vibe, because the attitude goes with it, and then they hate everybody that's foreign. But in Bozeman, they bring in a lot of people from other countries as seasonal workers, but they have a large Jamaican population because they bring them in to work in the hotels in Big Sky and Bozeman. And so you do have diversity, but you don't have assimilation. And you can bring in all the groups from all the different countries in the world, But if you don't embrace them and assimilate and be one with each other, you just create a microcosm of hate for your neighbor, and it's horrible, you know? I don't know. The van life community, it's predominantly, you know, obviously, like, the more popular demographic is the more popular in most places, just because of numbers. But we have people from all different socioeconomic backgrounds, all different rigs. You got the $1 million rigs, you got the $10,000 IKEA hack, you've got the $800 Craigslist van, and we all just live in unison and peacefully, and it's great. And we don't jab on each other. There's no racism that I've seen. There's no hatred toward LGBTQ. There's no anger at, you know, because we don't do politics and we generally don't do religion. And I think those are the two that pretty much instigate a riot every single time. We keep those out of conversation. We care about the earth. We care about our health. We're interested in each other. And, you know, we all come from different places. And I've not experienced and I've not seen the kind of hatred that I see just in a regular neighborhood. You know, because we all have a collective idea that we just don't want to pay rent to anyone and we just want to be one with nature. And I think when you have a collective goal, that's when people get along. But when you all move to like Bozeman or Bend or, you know, all these like small mountain towns, you don't have a collective goal. You have an individual goal of I want to get the hell out of a city and be away from everyone. Oh, look, everyone's moved there too. I hate everybody. Like, that's the mentality that develops. You don't have a sense of community, and I did not feel that in Bozeman whatsoever. I did not feel the sense of community. Okay, enough of me rambling. Let me show you. Well, I'll show you on the next one. I'm going to be riding my bike, so let me go in here. And great turnout. So there's no one here. So let me show you this. This is great. This looks all brand new and everything. Albuquerque, look at you. I should have done this earlier, but again, my hand wasn't. I wasn't confident about the hand, and I hadn't done any long rides like the whole summer. I was just doing downhill biking. So now that I've done a couple 100 miles of riding, I think I'll be ready for the bike ride. So I will see you on the next one. And yeah, so stay tuned tomorrow and you'll see the bike ride.